Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests are committed to our church. Amen.
Order, number one. Is it working? Order number one, administration of oath.
Let's proceed.
Order number one, administration of oath. Order number two, communication from the chair.
Well, honor members, I wish to welcome you back from the long recess. And it's my hope that you are able to spend valuable time with your families and constituents, and now back rejuvenated and ready to proceed with the job ahead in the year. Standing Order number 29 of the National Assembly Standing Orders provides the procedure of convening of a special sitting of the House during recess upon a request from the leader of the majority party or the leader of the minority party. I therefore wish to report to the assembled House that on 6th of February 2020, I acceded to a request from the leader of the majority party seeking to convene a special sitting today afternoon for purposes of considering the two motions listed in today's order paper. That is, one, a motion regarding the presidential proclamation made upon the passing on of the retired second President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Two, a motion to alter the calendar of the House in view of the same presidential proclamation and other developments attendant to the proclamation. In addition, honourable members, today's special sitting, which is now duly convened, having been gazetted via Kenya Gazette Notice number 788 of 7th February 2020, will also accord me an opportunity to convey a message from His Excellency the President, which I received during the recess regarding appointments that require the approval of the House. Honourable members, having declared that the special sitting is properly convened, allow me to turn to the single most important business that necessitated the convening of this special sitting. Honourable members, we've gathered here today under certain circumstances. As you're already aware, the National Assembly, and indeed the nation as a whole, is mourning the loss of the second President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, who passed on Tuesday, 4th of September 2020, while undergoing treatment at the Nairobi Hospital. His Excellency, the late retired second President, was, according to the record, born on the 2nd of September 1924 in what is now Sacho Division of Baringo County. He attended the Africa Inland Mission School at Kabaratonjo for his primary education, Kapsabet High School, then known as the Government Africa School, Kapsabet, and later joined Kapsabet Teachers Training College. He also attended Kagumo Teachers College and taught at the Government African School, Kapsabet, and Tambach Teachers Training College. He had also served as the headmaster at the Government African School, Tambach, which later became Tambach Teachers Training College. He worked as a teacher from 1946 to 1955. As a matter of fact, education remained dear to his heart during his entire life, as evidenced by, among other things, the many schools he established and supported. Honourable members, I will resume my seat to allow the members at the door to make their way in quickly. Honourable members, I resume my seat to allow the members to make their way in quickly. Now, members, I will resume. The late retired president joined elective politics on October 16, 1955, when he was elected as a member of the Legislative Council, then popularly known as, referred to as the LegCo, succeeding the Honorable late John Ole Tameno. This was following the first election under the then Constitution, commonly then known as the Littleton Constitution, which introduced elected representation for Africans in the LegCo. The late retired President Moi was elected to the LegCo, joining the late Bernard Mate, Ronald Gala, Tom Mboya, Oginga Odinga, Masinde Muliro, Lawrence Oguda, and James Mwimi. He was sworn in on the 18th of October, 1955, and made his first maiden speech a week later on 25th of October, 1955. During his tenure in the LegCo, he also served as the Parliamentary Secretary for Education, the equivalent of an assistant minister at the time. The late retired President Moi was part of the Kenyan delegation to the Lancaster House Conference in London, which drew up the country's first post-independent constitution, and was also a founding member of the Kenya African Democratic Union, KANDU party. After Kenya's independence in 1963, the late retired President Moi was elected to Parliament the same year as a member for Baringo North constituency, which later became Baringo Central constituency. He also served as the Minister for Home Affairs from 1964 and as the third Vice President of Kenya and leader of government business from 1967 before ascending to the presidency upon the demise of the first President of the Republic, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, in August 1978. As leader of government business, he helped midwife and steer the legislative agenda of the administration he so faithfully and loyally served. Honorable members, it is indeed a remarkable achievement that the late Mzee Moi served an uninterrupted term as a member of this august house for a whopping 47 years, first as member of the Legislative Council, LegCo, from October 18, 1955 to 1962, and later as Member of Parliament from 1963 until his retirement in the year 2002. He will remain in the history of our Parliament as being the second longest serving member of this House after the retired third President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Honorable Mwai Kibaki. During his time in the legislature, he made history as he occasionally attended parliamentary sittings to vote on bills, among them the Corruption Control Bill of 2002. Indeed, this bill was passed and assented to by the late Mzee Moi, marking the first time that the legislature and the executive had come together in such a manner to put in place a legislative measure to address the scourge of corruption. He gave his last speech as president in Parliament during the state opening of Parliament on 12th of March, 2002. He also performed one of his last official duties as president relating to the legislature by dissolving Parliament in October 2002 to pave way for the general elections of that year. Thereafter, he retired from active politics. The late retired President Moi will be remembered for making the Republic of Kenya an island of peace during periods which a number of our neighboring countries, suffered instability. He will also be remembered for peacefully passing on the presidential mantle at a time when a number of serving African leaders were seen to be reluctant so to do. We will also always remember him and his strong love for education, children, and gender empowerment, which culminated in his appointment of Kenya's first female cabinet minister in 1990, and later on, the first female head of public service. All these will evermore remain part of our nation's history, as indeed exemplified in its motto of peace, love, and unity. The late retired President Moi will also be remembered alongside fellow heads of states from Uganda and the United Republic of Tanzania for steering regional integration and ensuring that the East African community was revived. He will also be remembered for working hard to restore peace in neighboring countries following prolonged instability in those countries that lasted for decades in some of the affected nations. Honorable members, the late retired President Moi was a charismatic leader, mentor, and friend to many, and will be sorely missed. His legacy lives on. He touched the lives of many Kenyans, some of whom he personally attended to their unique needs, for which they are forever grateful. He mentored many upcoming leaders who ended up holding key leadership positions here at home and beyond. He is survived by his children, two of whom are currently serving in this parliament, being the Honorable Raymond Kipruto Moi, Member of Parliament for Rongai, and the Honorable Senator Gideon Moi, who represents Baringo County in the Senate. On behalf of members of the National Assembly, the Parliamentary Service Commission, and indeed on my own behalf, I wish to convey sincere condolences to his family, friends, and the nation at large, for this is a great loss indeed. Honourable members, in honor of the dedicated service rendered to the community and the nation by the late second President of the Republic of Kenya, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, in his various capacities, I request that we all rise up in our places and observe a moment of silence. May his soul rest in eternal peace. I thank you, honourable members.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 3, messages.
Please make your way in and take seats. Take seats. Take a seat, Honorable Mukwe. Honourable members, as you are aware, starting order number 42, subsection 2 states as follows, and I quote, if a message is received from the President at a time when the House is not in session, the Speaker shall forthwith cause the message to be transmitted to every member and shall report the message to the House on the day the House next sits. Close a quote. In this regard, on the 24th of January 2020, I did notify all members of a message from His Excellency the President, which was received in my office during the period of the long recess. The notification was in respect of nomination of persons for appointment to the offices of Cabinet Secretaries and Principal Secretaries. As so notified, the nominees funded by His Excellency the President in exercise of powers conferred to him pursuant to the provisions of Articles 152, Clause 2, 155, Clause 3, Paragraph A of the Constitution are as follows. Cabinet Secretary nominees. 1. The Honorable Mutahi Kagwe, EGH, to the Ministry of Health. 2. Ms. Betty Chemtai Maina, CBS, to the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development. B. Principal Secretary nominees. 1. Ambassador Johnson Weru, State Department for Trade. 2. Dr. Juan Ouma, State Department for Vocational and Technical Training. 3. Ms. Mary Kimonye, State Department for Public Service. 4. Ambassador Simon Nabukwesi, State Department for University Education and Research. 5. Solomon Kitungu, State Department for Transport. 6. Mr. Enoch Momanyi Onyango, State Department for Physical Planning. In this regard, His Excellency the President now seeks the approval of the nominations by this House. In accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 45, subsection 1 and 2, which require that upon receipt of notification for appointment, such nominations stand committed to the relevant committees for consideration. The names of the nominees, together with their curriculum vitae, are hereby referred to the relevant respective committees as follows. A. Nominees for appointment to the Office of Cabinet Secretary, namely the Honorable Mutahi Kagwe and the Honorable Betty Chemtai Maina, stand referred to the Committee on Appointments. And B. The nominees for appointment to the Office of Principal Secretary shall stand referred to the following departmental committees. 1. Ambassador Johnson Weru, to the Committee on Trade, Industry, and Cooperatives. 2. Dr. Joan Juma, Ambassador Simon Nabukwesi, to the Departmental Committee on Education and Research. 4. Mrs. Mary Kimonye, to the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security. 5. Mr. Solomon Kitungu, to the Departmental Committee on Transport, Public Works and Housing. And 6. Mr. Enoch Momanyi Onyango, to the Departmental Committee on Lands. Honourable members, Section 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act requires that a committee shall consider a nomination and table a report for debate and decision in the House within 14 days from the date of notification. It's therefore imperative that each of the aforementioned committees immediately embark on the vetting exercise to enable speedy conclusion within the set timelines. The committees are expected to immediately notify the nominees and the general public, commence the necessary approval hearings, and table their respective reports in the House on or before Tuesday, 25th of February, 2020, to enable the House consider and finalize its decisions on the nominees within the stipulated timelines. I thank you.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Leader Majority.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Monday, February 10th, 2020. 1, legal notice number 176 of 2019, relating to the competition, general rules 2019, and the memorandum from the National Treasury and Planning. 2, legal notice number 196 of 2019, relating to excise duty, in bracket remission of excise duty amendment, regulations 2019, and the memorandum from the National Treasury and Planning. Number 4, legal notice number legal notice number 217 of 2019 relating to the crops, food crops regulations 2020, and the memorandum explaining it from the Ministry of Livestock, Agriculture, Fisheries and Cooperative. And number 4, legal notice number 3 of 2020 relating to the Public Service Commission regulations and the memorandum explaining it from the Public Service Commission. And lastly, the draft Civil Aviation Unmanned Aircraft System regulations 2019 from the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority.
Very well, next.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Yes, Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motions: that the presidential proclamation of the 4th February 2020 regarding the passing on of His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, CGH, second President of the Republic of Kenya, the condolences of this House be recorded in honor of the late retired President's long service in this House, his selfless and exemplary service to the Republic, and for his role in promoting good neighborliness and stability in our region.
Questions and statements?
None. Honourable members, now that many of you are here in the chamber, I just wish to draw your attention to a document which I believe has been circulated to all of you regarding the last parliamentary honor to the late second President of the Republic of Kenya at what will happen between 4:45 and until the time when the body finally leaves the precincts of Parliament. I believe every member has a copy of it, so that there's no need for me to read it. Is that agreed? Everybody has seen that guide. What is the point of order, Honorable Junet?
Mr. Speaker, I wanted your clarification on today, the mode of dressing of the Speaker. The last 7 years I've been here, I've not seen this head regalia I'm seeing today. What is the purpose of it, Mr. Speaker? I'm shocked whether it's the same Speaker I knew or somebody is masquerading as a Speaker, Mr. Speaker. Can you tell us, Mr. Speaker, what it means, Mr. Speaker, and explain to the House so that we get used to it?
Well, of course, the Honorable Junet was not present when I made the first communication regarding this special sitting. It is a sitting that demands that the Speaker adorns that kind of regalia. And therefore, because of the issues that are going to happen after 4:45 p.m. And also, if the Honorable Junet was around, I'm sure he would have noticed that the procession today into the chamber, the Speaker's procession, was not in the usual way, usual manner. So, Honorable Junet, you are saying the same person, so you can relax. Next.
Order number 8, motion.
Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 27-1 relating to the date of commencement of this House on a new session and pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 28-4, the House may alter its calendar. This House resolves to alter its calendar for the fourth session, regular sittings, in respect of the date of commencement of the first sitting, so that the House holds its first sitting in the fourth session on Thursday, February 13, 2020 at 2:30 p.m. Honorable Speaker, the members who I've talked to, there is a reason why we have to be here. I'll not tell you why, it's in your interest. But secondly, and more important, Mr. Speaker, we have a constitutional deadline. The budget policy statement must be presented to the House before or on the 14th of February every year. So that is one of the reasons why we should have a Thursday sitting. The other reason I will tell you when you see me out of the mic, and I think Honorable Pokose is a fast learner, he can now do the necessary. So, Mr. Speaker, the second one is to allow members tomorrow and the day after to participate in the burial session of our former president of the Republic of Kenya,
Arap Moi. Great men are always surrounded by great controversy. Yet we must never forget that Mzee Moi united our country, Kenya, when many African countries were steeped in coups d'etats and rebellion. He would transit this country through multi-party democracy, securing his place in Kenya in history of leaving a united, peaceful Kenya. He relegated power under the most difficult of circumstances at Uhuru Park. Needless to say, in less than 4 years, this country would be plunged in civil war. Mzee was a devoted Christian, a patriot, a dignified human being. I know, I am certain that it is well with his soul. He has rested in eternal peace.
Member for Kibwezi West.
Thank you, Speaker. On behalf of the people of Kibwezi West, Makueni County at large, we give our heartfelt condolences on the demise of His Excellency President Moi, and to a larger extent to the scouting movement for losing indeed a great patron who has nurtured a big generation to keep in our motto, be prepared. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for South Imenti.
Asante sana Bwana Spika, kwa niaba ya wakazi wa constituency ya Imenti Kusini, familia yangu na mimi mwenyewe Bwana Spika, nachukua fursa hii kuomboleza kuachwa na Baba Moi, na Bwana Spika, kusema mambo mengi Rais Moi alitengeneza ama alifanya hapa nchini Kenya ni mambo mengi sana. Elimu, hasa kusimamia demokrasia kwa kuondoa kifungu cha 2A katika katiba yetu Bwana Spika, pamoja na vile alipeana uongozi na Wakenya wengi walifikiria hata achilia uongozi sababu amefanya akiwa rais kwa miaka 24 na naibu wa rais miaka 8. Kwa hivyo sisi tukiwa viongozi wale wamekuja hii nchini tunaiga mfano wake Bwana Spika, na tunaombea familia yake na Wakenya wote wakati mwema tunapomuraza Rais Moi wiki hii. Asante sana.
Member for West Mugirango.
Honorable Speaker, may I take this opportunity on behalf of the people of West Mugirango to extend my condolences to the family of the late Honorable retired President Moi. Moi, Honorable Speaker, quite did a lot when he was the President of this Republic of Kenya. He ensured that there was stability in the region and more particularly in Kenya. There was provision of milk, and in nature, Honorable Speaker, the retired President Moi was humorous. He ensured that there was a peaceful handover in the year 2002. May the Lord rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Mwea.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my behalf and the people of Mwea, my family, I extend my condolences to the family and indeed to the nation of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, we, the people of Mwea, remember the late president for many things, but I want to single out in 1992 when he gave titles to the Mwea irrigation scheme, about 20 titles, Mr. Speaker. That exercise was not complete, and I hope that this present government will complete that exercise by giving those titles, Mr. Speaker. As a nation, this is the time to reflect on matters peace, on matters love for one another, on matters love for our nation. It's a time for us to reflect how we can build this nation and more so ensuring that we make use of that which we have. Mr. Speaker, may the Lord rest his soul in peace.
Member for Suna East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on my behalf and on behalf of my constituency, Suna East, and on behalf of Gori County, I would like to convey my message of condolences to the family of President Daniel Arap Moi. Mr. Speaker, Daniel Arap Moi was a visionary leader, Mr. Speaker, who steered this country in a peaceful manner in the 24 years, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he was a very tolerant leader, Mr. Speaker, and you remember at that time when he was leading, the country was so much engulfed in politics of opposition and government, and he tolerated all groups of people, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I wish to send my condolences to his family and say Pole to them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. He was tolerant.
Member for Baringo North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on my own behalf, that of my family and the great people of Baringo North and Baringo County, Mr. Speaker, I wish to convey my condolences to the family of the late president. Mr. Speaker, President Moi can be remembered for being a leader that was able to unite the country. Mr. Speaker, as we move forward as a country, I think we have a lot to borrow from the leadership of Mr. Moi in terms of uniting our nation and ensuring, Mr. Speaker, that inclusivity is achieved. The BBI we are discussing currently, Mr. Speaker, talks about inclusivity. But I think Mr. Moi, Mr. Speaker, was able to practice inclusivity in his leadership, ensuring that every person, every community in Kenya is in leadership. Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that the issue of education, issues of peace, issues of uniting Kenya is paramount for most leadership. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that this country...
Member for Ugunja.
Mr. Speaker, as we condole with the family of the third President, Daniel Arap Moi, it's important to note that even though some of us did not entirely agree with this style of governance, we must appreciate the enormous contribution he made to the overall growth of the country. Mr. Speaker, perhaps his style of governance was informed by the circumstances that prevailed then. Mr. Speaker, I do pray that his passing on may herald a new spirit of national unity and less squabbling by politicians, particularly those in the Jubilee. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The honor members, just to guide you, since you already agreed that it's 1 minute, when you see the yellow light, you know you have 30 seconds balance. When you see the red, you have 15 seconds remaining. So just so that you can organize yourselves, it's good you know in advance. Member for Igembe South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me offer my heartfelt condolence and of the people of Igembe South constituency to the family of the late Mzee Daniel Arap Moi. Mr. Speaker, late president was a very humble man, Mr. Speaker, and a man who loved children, Mr. Speaker, and a man who loved peace, love, and unity, Mr. Speaker. And in this country, we are supposed to embrace love, peace, and unity so that we can lead well, Mr. Speaker. With that, Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Member for Kitui Central.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On my own behalf, on behalf of my family, on behalf of the Kitui Central people, and on behalf of Kitui County, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to sincerely convey our condolences to the family of Mr. Moi. Honorable Speaker, a few things. can be singled out in relation to his life. He preached unity, he practiced it. He preached the gospel of forgiveness, he practiced it. As a region, we benefited a lot from his oil conservation efforts. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Amen.
Member for North Hall.
Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in giving my deepest condolences to the family of our late president. Mr. Speaker, sir, on my own behalf and the people of Northern constituency and Marsabit County at large, we really want to give our very deep condolences to the family of our late president. He cherished peace. He was a statesman. He was a Pan-Africanist. He was a freedom fighter. He was a true Democrat. Mr. Speaker, sir, he unified this country. He did all parts of Kenya so that we feel we are part of this country. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Member for Teso South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of my family, behalf of people of Teso South, I wish to sincerely pass my condolences to the family of the second president of Kenya, the late Daniel Arap Moi. Honorable Speaker, I remember the late president for one thing. He had a very big heart for education. And I wish to ask the entire nation to stand with him and his family in prayers during this difficult moment. Thank you, Speaker.
Member for Nyaribari Masaba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my own behalf and behalf of the people of Nyaribari Masaba, I want to take this opportunity to convey my very sincere and heartfelt condolences to the family of Mr. Moi. Mr. Moi was a very diligent worker, a patriot, and a true servant of the people. Those of us who had an opportunity of working under him, particularly district commissioners, because I was one, indeed is a man who traversed every part of the country, and we have lessons to learn. That let us embrace Nyayoism, the spirit of love, peace, and unity. Let us also embrace forgiveness, because Moi was a true Christian, and he embraced forgiveness, which as Kenyans, as Christians, we also do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Mwingi West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity given to me. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me join this, take this opportunity on behalf of my family, my people of Mwingi West, to pass a message of condolences to the family of the late retired President Moi. Mr. Speaker, sir, the President will be actually remembered for his Nyayo's philosophy of peace, love, and unity. Mr. Speaker, we will recall again that his career rising from a very simple teacher to a president is not a joke. And Mr. Speaker, that is why I am saying Mr. Moi was an extraordinary person. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, let me say, rest in peace, President Daniel Arap Moi. Thank you.
Member for Mogotio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Also, I rise to say on behalf of myself and my family and on behalf of the people of Mogotio, I'd like to send my condolences to the family of Moi and also the Kenyans at large. Personally, I remember the president for many things, but specifically education, especially on the issues of political stability. He had his philosophy of peace, love, and unity. He also talked a lot about Siasambaya, Maishambaya, and also many things about songs and everything else. And personally, I worked with him closely in establishing Kabarak University, and I'd like to thank him for the full support. And on that, I thank you.
Member for Tigania West.
Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to pass my condolences to the family of President Moi. Honorable Speaker, President Moi was a true nationalist, a true gentleman who remembered to forgive everyone who has ever erred him, and he also sought for forgiveness. Honorable Speaker, President Moi never spoke politics in church, even though he went to church every day, every Sunday. He defended his party against all odds, and he left a very strong party called KANU. Honorable Speaker, that is one man who spoke peace, love, and unity throughout the country, and he supported the cause for peace and the cause for love and unity. He promoted the girl child, and we shall remember him for that. Honorable Speaker, President Moi will be remembered for many things that he did, and it touched the lives of many people as a person who spearheaded the Harambee movement and left Kenya quite well developed. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Turkana County.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the great people of Turkana and my
Kakamega County, my family and I, Mr. Speaker, I wish to pass my condolences to the family of the late second President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Daniel Arap Moi. Two things I wish to remember His Excellency on, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I remember His Excellency Daniel Arap Moi as Bunge FC captain. He was the pioneer of Bunge Football Club. Mr. Speaker, the second thing is to remember Honorable Daniel Arap Moi for presiding over a Harambee to construct Lirembe Girls Secondary School, which still stands in Ikolomani, Mr. Speaker. And with those two things, Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Member for Kilifi County.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa niaba yangu, familia yangu na watu wa Kilifi, na pia na rambirambi zangu kwa familia ya hayati mzee Daniel Arap Moi. Mheshimiwa Spika, wasifu wake wa kupenda elimu ndani ya Kenya na hasa elimu ya mtoto wa kike, mimi na muenzi elimu kupeana maziwa ya watoto wa shule. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunamuenzi na tunaomba sisi kama viongozi tuone vipi tutaweza kuendeleza legacy yake. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Member for Makueni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like, on behalf of the people of Makueni and many other Kenyans who represent, to send a message of condolences to the family of Moi and Kenyans as a whole. Moi was known for the philosophy of peace, love, and unity, Mr. Speaker, which is what we are trying to do with the BBI currently. And he was also a peaceful man, loved peace, and ruled and even handed over power without difficulties, Mr. Speaker. There is a lot for younger politicians like us and many Kenyans to learn from President Moi. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Member for Voi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to join other Kenyans on my own behalf, my family and the people of Voi in Taita Taveta County. Wish to convey my heartfelt condolences to the family of the late President Moi. Mr. Speaker, I will remember the president for two things. One, when he took power, he was the only person who ordered that all employers must add their employees by 10%. And two, he cared for environment throughout his life. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Bahati. Sorry, there has been confusion. It is member for Bahati. The next one whose name was appearing, if I wasn't consulting with too many people, the next person will be the member for Tongaren, because his name has been misplaced. You can see the mic is with him. But you are the one next after the member for Bahati. Member for Bahati.
Asante Bwana Spika. Ningetaka kuchukua nafasi hii ya kushukuru kwa niaba ya watu ya Bahati na mimi mwenyewe mjumbe wa Bahati na familia yangu, na yangu ingekuwa ni machache sana kwa sababu kama kuna mtu anajua mstaafu ambaye ametuacha ni mimi Mheshimiwa Kimani Ngonjiri. Nilikuwa chairman wake wa KANU kwa miaka 10. Kwa hivyo nilimjua kwa kindani. na ninajua uzuri yake kwa sababu ni mzee wa heshima. Alikuwa na heshima ya kutosha, alijua kusaidia maskini, alijua kuunganisha watu yote, na alikuwa na msimamo. Ni yeye peke yake rais, utakumbuka ile chama alichaguliwa naye ndio amemaliza naye, bila kubadilisha chama, bila kuenda pande nyingine. Amekuwa amesimama na msimamo mmoja, na pengine kwenda kwake yaweza kutuguza roho zetu, itukumbushe peace.
Tongaren, Dr. Eseli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the people of Tongaren and Bungoma County in general, on my own behalf and my family's behalf, I wish to pass my sincerest condolences to the family and Kenyans in general on the loss of retired President Daniel Arap Moi. President Moi meant different things to different people. For us in Bungoma, we resisted President Moi from 1992 up to 2002. But after he retired, we made peace, in the sense that he even came to Bungoma Friends School Kamusinga, where he helped us to build an educational complex in his retirement. Mr. Speaker, one message he gave us was that multipartyism might entrench tribalism in the country. Mr. Speaker, we must admit that we Kenyans have fallen short, and actually what Moi predicted appears to be coming true. We better heed his words and mend our ways. Mr. Speaker, I pass my condolences.
Nominated member Danita Gatti.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am honored today to pay my tribute to the second President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Honorable Speaker, on my own behalf and on behalf of persons with disabilities in this country and on behalf of the people of the great county of Migori, Honorable Speaker, we say that we are celebrating our President. Mr. Speaker, sir, President Moi had persons with disabilities at heart. Mr. Speaker, sir, you will remember that it is during Moi's time that the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya in this country was established in Rehema House, and it has continued to empower persons with disabilities, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me on behalf of the people of Migori County to pass my tribute to celebrate the President of this Republic. Honorable Speaker, I rest my case. Thank you.
Member for Chepalungu.
Honorable Speaker, I want to stand here this afternoon to pass my word of condolences on behalf of the people of Chepalungu constituency, my family, and Kenya at large. Mzee Moi, when I heard about Moi when I was young, I used to think Moi is a machine. I used to think it's an equipment, earth mover machine. But later on, I came to know that Moi is the president. I used to think now the name Moi cutting across Africa, like Moi of Uganda is who, Moi of Nigeria is who, he left a long legacy in this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mzee might be no longer with us, but his legacy remain forever. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
For Teso North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I wish on behalf of myself, my family, and the people of Teso North to convey my heartfelt condolences to Senator Gideon Moi, to Honorable Raymond, and the entire family of Moi following the passage of our second president of this republic. Mr. Speaker, sir, the people of Teso North remember Moi for giving them inclusivity, being in the government. President Moi created Teso North District, which brought a lot of changes. And Mr. Speaker, the commencement of the multi-party politics started in Teso with the fight for Katako Diocese. Moi supported.
Member for Laisamis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, Kenya is mourning today, and Kenyans at large are mourning. Mr. Speaker, they are mourning because of a loss of a president, the former president of Kenya, in the name of Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Mr. Speaker, Moi was actually a leader. He was a president for the last 24 years during his tenure. And as witnessed today, many Kenyans are actually coming here, they're thronging here at the parliament to come and see his body. I therefore want to send my condolences, and the condolences in behalf of Laisami's constituency, that we want to say pole to the mzee, and may God rest his soul in peace. Thank you.
Member for Sabatia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this chance to pass my condolences of the great people of Vihiga and the Sabatia constituency on the loss of the second President of the Republic of Kenya, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Moi was great to the people of Vihiga. He gave them Vihiga district from Kakamega, which has now become a county that's saying thank you. Moi believed in inclusivity. All the time, Vihiga people had a cabinet minister, as opposed to now when you have the tyranny of numbers who have their way and they leave us out. Moi used to come every time on 26th of December to look at the cultural festival and preside over it. And I'm glad to say that on 26th, on the 40th anniversary of the cultural festival, the BBI has taken it up to become a national festival 26. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May his soul rest in peace.
Member for Magarini.
Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa niaba ya watu wa Magarini na kwa niaba ya jamii ya Mijikenda kutoka Jamhuri yetu ya Kenya, napeana pole zangu kwa familia ya mwenda zake aliyekuwa rais wetu wa pili, mzee Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Mzee Moi anajulikana kwa kuendelesha mwito wa harambee, hii ambayo ilikuwa inahakikisha kwamba watu maskini, watu kutoka jamii ya maskini wanapata msaada kupitia kwa mwito huu. Kwa hivyo kwa niaba ya jamii ya watu wa Magarini, jamii ya Pwani, nasema Mwenyezi Mungu ailaze roho yake mahali pema peponi.
Member for Bureti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of myself, that of my family, and the great people of Bureti, I do pass a condolences to the family of the family of former President Moi and Kenyan at large. Mr. Speaker, as Bureti residents, we remember Mr. Moi with a lot, President Moi with a lot of respect. As I start, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Moi started the Nyayo Awards in 1983, which is currently the Kericho Kapkatet Sub-District Hospital, which is level 5. And I'm very, I was happy, Mr. Speaker, with his work. Secondly, as a Pan-African, he was respected across the board. And we remember President Moi for cultivating friendship.
Member for Nambale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I rise to pass the condolences of the people of Nambale and Busia County at large. Having been around when we got independence, I can see the transformation of the former president from a conservative who saw very far, and I wish he had been followed prior to independence, to a very patient vice president, to a very collegial first 4-year president, and a very container. He believed strongly in containment in the last of his rule. I think that we should follow his example in sticking to matters constitutional, like term limits, with no attempts to change them. And that's a lesson that history will bequeath to him, and I wish that all the rest of the leadership goes with that. I pray for his soul to rest in eternal peace.
Member for Mumias East.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the people of Mumias East, my family and myself, I'd like to convey my heartfelt condolences to the family of the late former president, and quickly add that I knew him as a person who had a very good heart. Mr. Speaker, the spirit of Harambee was enhanced by the former president, and I remember him in 1977 when I was in Form 1. He came to raise funds for Mumias 3, which was Lubino, Muslim Secondary School, and Matungu Secondary School. And that what has enhanced the construction of many secondary schools. Honorable Speaker, in the absence of CDF, now that the CDF, people may not know how important Harambee was. Honorable Speaker, I want to pray to God that he keeps his soul in eternal peace.
Member for Kikuyu.
Asante Bwana Spika, kwa niaba ya watu wa Kikuyu, familia yangu na jamii yote ya mzee Ishungwa Ngugi ambaye ni rika moja na mzee Moi na ambaye dakika chache zilizopita alikuja kumheshimu mzee Moi ambaye alikuwa rafiki yake, nataka kutuma risala yangu ya rambirambi kwa jamii na marafiki na nchi ya Kenya. Kwetu Kikuyu, Mheshimiwa Spika, hatungekuwa na shule ya wasichana kama haingekuwa ni kazi ya mzee Moi, kazi ya Moi Girls Kamangu, shule ya upili ya Alliance Girls, shule ya upili ya Alliance Boys, zote zilifanyika chini ya uongozi wa mzee Moi, na Mwenyezi Mungu amlaze mahali pema.
The people of Nyando constituency join the entire country and the world at large to eulogize and immortalize the late President Moi, who is now resting on a bier at this door. Mr. Speaker, we remember Moi for very many things. Moi introduced school milk and I was a huge beneficiary. Moi enlarged the education institutions. And Moi did so much, including fighting soil erosion. We remember him for all the good that he did to this country, preaching peace, love, and unity. As a human being, he had his own imperfections, just like any one of us. We remember him, and we hope that God will put him in a place where he deems fit and necessary for Moi. God bless. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kipkelion West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me join this House in sending our deep condolences to the family of retired President Moi, and to say that on behalf of the people of Kipkelion West, President Moi was many things to all of us, and we will remember him mostly for taking the presidency to the people. And the evidence of the people who are coming to see his body today is evidence that he loved people passionately and he loved education. And this country can only remember him by at least making day secondary school fully free in honor of the retired president. May God rest his soul in perfect peace.
Member for Turkana West.
Shukran Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa niaba ya watu wa Turkana Magharibi, kwa niaba yangu mwenyewe, napenda kutoa rambirambi zangu kwa Wakenya wote na kwa jamii ya hayati mzee Moi. Mimi namkumbuka binafsi kama beneficiary ya shule ambayo yeye alianzisha ya Kabarak. Nikawa beneficiary ya scholarship ya shule hiyo. Hadi vile nilivyo saa hizi hivi, nimefanya kazi kwa sababu ya nafasi aliyotoa kwa kazi ambayo anafanya, alikuwa akifanya. Kwa hivyo, Mwenyezi Mungu amlaze mahali pema peponi. Asante.
Member for Machakos Town.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of my family and people of Machakos Town, I want to pass condolences to the family of retired President Moi. Mzee Moi declared on call for peace, love, and unity. he was actually a peacemaker. And the Bible says in Matthew 5, verse 9, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God." Thank you very much.
Member for Marakwet East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me join my colleagues to pay tribute to the Honorable Mzee Moi. Mr. Speaker, I remember Mzee Moi, especially with the school milk, Mr. Speaker, of which the school milk, the Nyayo milk, made some of us to go to school, Mr. Speaker, because it was actually, that is the attraction. Mr. Speaker, number two, I want to appreciate Mzee Moi, Mr. Speaker, because he upheld the democracy of this country by handing power peacefully, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I want also to praise Mzee Moi, Mr. Speaker, especially in terms of education, because many of our schools was established by Mzee Moi, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, finally, for us who are Christian, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Moi spread the gospel across the country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and may his soul rest in peace.
We need to remember Ibrahim Sahal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to join the rest of Kenyans in mourning the passing on of His Excellency retired President Daniel Torotich Arap Moi, the second President of the Republic of Kenya. I wish to honor his legacy as a teacher and support of his education sector by the expansion of institution and learning and construction of multiple classes in the spirit of Harambee. He is accredited for his support for early childhood education through social development projects in schools, most commonly known as Maziwa ya Moi, which significantly improved the nutrition and the school enrollment of the learners, particularly in the marginalized areas. May his
Member for Ijara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to add my voice on my own behalf and on behalf of Ijara constituency to say pole sana to the family of late Mzee Moi and Kenyans at large. Mr. Speaker, I remember very well Mzee Moi as a pastoralist person. The pastoralist community of this nation will forever cherish and remain indebted to the late President Daniel Arap Moi for bringing us to the power with the rest of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the education system, the quota education system, Mr. Speaker, the children of the pastoralist community and the minority communities benefited in a big way by joining the national schools and universities, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, during his tenure as the president, the construction...
Member for Nairobi County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand on behalf of my county, Nairobi, on my own behalf and my family, to convey condolences to the family of our second president, Daniel Torotich Arap Moi. As seen outside today, the queues were so long. People were standing, not able to leave the queues, no water, probably no lunch. And I'm so grateful that in their wisdom, they decided to extend the time. Mr. Speaker, Sir Moi was a man who forgave. And I ask Kenyans out there who are not very happy with the leaders to learn to forgive so that we can actually forge ahead with development for our nation. Thank you.
Member.
Honorable Speaker, let me take this time on my own behalf, on the behalf of my family and the people of Tindred and Nandi County, to convey our condolences to the family of the late President Daniel Torotich Arap Moi for what he did. I want to pay tribute, especially the expansion in education, Mr. Speaker, in the whole country. In my county, we have many schools that have come up because of what he did. The university education, he did a lot. Mr. Speaker, he also did a lot in conservation of environment. He actually tried much to conserve soil erosion. He also tried to ensure that our region, our country, is actually respected in East and Central Africa and the whole world, because he was a maker of peace. I thank you, and I pay my respect to the family. Thank you.
Member for Nyali.
Shukran sana Bwana Spika, kwa niaba ya wakazi wa eneo bunge la Nyali, familia yangu, tunatoa risala za rambirambi kwa familia ya hayati Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. Hakika atakumbukwa kwa mambo mengi mazuri, na tunaomba Mwenyezi Mungu amfutie dhambi zake na hata za siri, na amlaze pema panapolazwa wema.
Member for Sirisia.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On my own behalf and behalf of the Sirisia people and Bungoma County at large, I want to pay my tribute to the family as they are seated here in the gallery. Honorable Speaker, as we speak, President Moi is already in heaven because he apologized to the nation, to the people of Kenya and to the world. Honorable Speaker, it is not easy for a president to apologize to the people whom he wronged or whom wronged him, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I'm saying that is so. Sirisia people, Mr. Speaker, we have benefited. President Moi, Mr. Speaker, gave us 500 chances for teacher training in my constituency. And that is what I will never forget, Mr. Speaker. He did a lot, and I appreciate him even as he's lying there. And people of Sirisia, Mr. Speaker.
But to the whole region. And I think most countries are there today because of his benevolence and his love for peace. One of them being South Sudan. Honorable Speaker, I'd just like to tell all Kenyans that he came, he played a role, and he made Kenya what it is, and we pray for his family, and let his soul rest in peace. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Sabina Chege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to join the rest of my colleagues to send my condolences to the family of the late Mzee Moi. Mr. Speaker, I'm one of the beneficiaries of the Nyao milk when I was in school. And Mzee Moi has encouraged majority of us into leadership, Mr. Speaker. I'd also want to recognize him as an educationist, Mr. Speaker, a man who encouraged the women to come into leadership. The likes of Zipporah Kitoni, Nivamwendo Ansali Kosgei, he really supported women. And Mr. Speaker, he served with humility. It is a sad reminder to all of us that one day we will have a chance for people to talk about us. And the big question is, what will the people talk and say about us? He asked all of us to forgive him and forgive each other. And I'm hoping, Mr. Speaker, that we will take it up as a nation to live in his legacy of his philosophy of peace, love, and unity. I condole with the family and especially our colleague, the member for Rung.
Member for Seme.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the people of Seme, on my own behalf and on behalf of my family, may I take this opportunity to pass our heartfelt condolences to the family of President Daniel arap Moi. The late president led this country for 24 years, and we are what we are as a country today because of his leadership. May the Almighty God rest his soul in eternal peace.
Member for Kisumu East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the great people of Kisumu East, my family, and everybody else here, we want to give our condolences to the family of the late Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. The people of Kisumu will not forget that it was President Moi who gave us the city. They will not forget that it was President Moi who extended the airport so that we can have a big jumbo jet fly there. Thank you, President Moi. I know there are others that felt that you had left them. We were the heart of opposition. We remain the heart of opposition. But you gave us whatever you could. Thank you, President Moi. Inna lillahi wa inna lillahi raji'un. Rest in peace.
Member for Naivasha.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I wish to condole the President, our late President Moi, for many things. Honorable Moi was many things in this country, but the most important thing is that he was able to forgive, and he asked for forgiveness also, because like a human being, Moi wronged people, and he was also wronged, and especially those people who tried to overturn his government. I remember, because I was still in this Nairobi, when we used to lift, to bite our ID and you lift your arms. Definitely, Moi was wronged, and the most important thing is that he asked for forgiveness. Otherwise, he was everything that a country would dream or wish to have. Thank you.
For the Raka.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, may I pay my tribute to the late Honorable Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. President Moi was actually an icon in this country, and he lived for Kenya, and everything in Kenya he meant well. On behalf of the people of Tharaka Nithi County, myself and my family, we do condole with his family, and we owe everything that we have in that county to Honorable Moi. I am one of the beneficiaries of his generosity in education, as I went to the Kabarak High School, where actually I honed my skills in education and in leadership. And for all that, we do say, may he rest in eternal peace. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, I wish to recognize the grandchildren of the late President Daniel Arap Moi, who are with us in the Speaker's Gallery, and who have been within Parliament since this incident happened. They are welcome to observe the proceedings. Thank you. Member for Ndiwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May it go to the annal of records that they were constituency, and my family, Martin Owino Wood Chief, condole with the family of the late president. Mr. Speaker, one thing that should go to all our hearts is what Moi did. And English express it in a more specific way. Let me quote, "Real president says, I am sorry." May this be our experience as we go on with the uniting this country through BBI. Thank you.
Member for Samburu West. Member for Samburu West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my own behalf, on the behalf of the people of Samburu West and Samburu County in general, I would like to pass our sincere condolences to the family of the late President Moi, and especially to our two colleagues, Senator Gideon Moi and also Honorable Jonathan. Mr. Speaker, there are many, Raymond, my apologies. Mr. Speaker, there are many things that we learn, especially on issues to do with peace, love and unity, and even forgiveness. He was kind enough to ask for forgiveness, and that is what we should emulate from him. Also, as Samburu and pastoralists, we really benefited from him through inclusivity, ensuring that even those who have...
Member for Nakuru Town, Nakuru County. Your time will get finished.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. On my behalf and my family and Nakuru County as a whole, I want to give out my message of condolences to the family of our the second president of this country. There are many things that he did for us, and there are many things that we need to remember him for, but there are two things that I really need to mention. And the two things that I want to mention, Mr. Speaker, sir, is the way he handed over power peacefully in 2002. Secondly, he was able to seek for forgiveness, to forgive those who wronged him, and to also seek for forgiveness from those others. For these few remarks, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to welcome all of you, those who are coming to Nakuru for the funeral. Most welcome. May God give you journey mercies. Rest in peace, Honorable.
Member for Kajiado East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of Kajiado East, on behalf of all the former students of Moi High School, Kabarak, because I was a student there, Mr. Speaker, I condole with the family of Honorable Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Mr. Speaker, we all remember His Excellency because of the Nyayo milk. We also remember him because of his peace rallying call, Mr. Speaker. Particularly, he nurtured the spirit of leadership in me when I was a student in Moi High School, Kabarak. We really condole with the family and with all the Kenyans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Yatta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on my own behalf, the behalf of my father, the late Philip Kilonzo, and the family, and the people of Yatta, Mr. Speaker, we mourn with the family, and in particular with our colleague Raymond and Gideon. Mr. Speaker, I can't forget that the late president attended my father's funeral in 1997. Mzee Moi, Mr. Speaker, is the original Baba, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mzee Moi knew when to let go. In 2002, Mr. Speaker, he handed over power. Mzee Moi, Mr. Speaker, knew when to change. In 1992, he allowed for multi-party democracy. Mr. Speaker, Mzee Moi knew how to sack, Mr. Speaker. There was no stepping aside in the regime. Mzee, rest in peace.
Member for, what is this? Isiolo South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of Isiolo South, Isiolo County General, my family and myself, I wish to convey our heartfelt condolences to the family of His Excellency, the late President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, represented by our brothers Raymond and Gideon, to the nation and this House for having lost the second longest serving member. Mr. Speaker, I urge Kenyans to live by His Excellency the President's philosophy of peace, love, and unity. Let us heed his call of avoiding siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. Let us instead have siasa mzuri, maisha mzuri for this nation. Thank you.
Member for Lamu County.
Kwa niaba yangu na niaba family yangu na Lamu County kwa jumla, tunatoa rambirambi zetu kwa familia ya rais wa pili na zaidi kwa mwenzetu Gideon, tugetu Gideon. Tutamkumbuka sana baba wetu kwa mambo mengi. Moja ni kuleta Wakenya pamoja, yale maziwa ya Nyayo tulokunywa, na sisi watu wa Lamu akatuanzishia basari ambayo milioni 10 wakati huo, watoto wengi wakafaidika wakasoma. Pia kutupatia naibu wa waziri ndugu yetu Mohamed Hashim, na pia nyumba kuu hapa ilikuwa ni rahisi kuifikia. Kulikuwa na watu kule wazee wakiheshimika sana, wakipiga simu inashikwa. Tunawakumbuka wazee wetu kama mmoja ndugu yetu Maharus marehemu pia, na baba tutamkumbuka kwa mambo mengi. La muhimu zaidi ni sisi viongozi tumfikirie.
Member for Kitui West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to convey my condolences to the family of the late president. The late president was a charismatic and patriotic leader who was precise and very disciplined. And he earned a lot of a great appeal to the public, especially to the Kenyans. He was a very humble man, to the point of even spending a night in a very humble village of Chondoni village in my constituency. So I remember him as a God-fearing man, who unified this, who was a unifying figure. And therefore, Kenyans, we should get united as we remember.
Member for Tharaka Nithi County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of myself, my family, and the people of Tharaka Nithi County, I wish to share my sincere condolences to the family, our late president, particularly to Raymond and Gideon, who are our colleagues. Mr. Speaker, the late president, was a devoted Christian. He was a defender of love, peace, and unity. He had a soft spot for women of this country. He preached peace in Kenya and beyond, Mr. Speaker. We are saying that we have lost a general, a leader of this country, and we are mourning together with the family, and we are saying, may God bless and rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you.
Member for Luanda.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. On my own behalf and on behalf of the people of Luanda and the Kabarak, our generation that Kabarak students, I wish to convey my condolences to the family of the late President, His Excellency President Moi. President Moi brought us up. He taught us well. He taught us to serve without expecting anything. And we are here today because of what he did. For me, he's the standard bearer of the office of president. And I wish to urge all of us to emulate him in his leadership style and to build schools like Kabrak for wherever it is that we come from. President, rest in peace.
Member for Samburu County.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kunipatia hii nafasi nitoe pole yangu na familia yangu na Samburu County kwa baba yetu Moi. Mheshimiwa Spika, mengi sana tunakumbuka baba Moi. Kile imefanyia Samburu County hatuwezi kusahau. Kwa sababu tunaamini yeye ndio mtu wa kwanza kuja kuanzishia Samburu County secondary ya wasichana. Na hatuwezi sahau hata kidogo. Na yeye mwenyewe kila Mkenya anakumbuka. Baba Moi ilikuwa raisi si ya kuchezewa. Ni raisi ya kuheshimiwa zaidi. Ukiangalia kati yake na kati ya sahi unaona kuna tofauti kubwa sana. Na mimi ningeomba Wakenya wote turudi akati yake ili tupeane heshima katika Kenya nzima. Kwa sababu tukiiga
Member for Bomet East.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I want to join my colleagues in passing my sincere condolence on my own behalf and on behalf of my family, and on behalf of the great people of Bomet East and Bomet County at large, for the passing on of our second president, retired President Moi. And I want to say that Moi was a great leader. One, he empowered the girl child. Because if you go to any constituency or any county, you find a girls' school named Moi, like Moi Shongre Girls, Moi T secondary schools, numerous girls' schools. So I want to say so much because thank you so much for empowering the girl child. Secondly, he started the giant organization of women, Maendeleo Wanawake, which enabled the Kenyan women to go to Beijing in 1985.
Member for Migori County.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, on my own behalf, that of my family, the entire Migori County, and all the children who are of my age, I congratulate and salute the fallen hero. Because of the milk that he gave, I am a doctor today.
Secondly, I want to salute Moi for standing strong as a leader. In 1999, there was this strong wave of wanting to legalize abortion and prostitution in Kenya, and Moi stood firm to protect the woman against the pain. I think I will remember him forever for this and his kindness and generosity towards the children from poor families and marginalized areas. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Member for Kitui South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the people of Kitui South, the people of Kitui County, my family, and on my own behalf, I would like to take this opportunity to pass my condolences to the family of Mzee Moi, our colleagues in this house, the Honorable Gideon and the Honorable Raymond Moi, and the grandchildren seated on the Speaker's gallery. Honorable Speaker, I remember the President as a child when I sang Mashairi for him when I was in primary school. And I still remember the love that he had for children. And I still remember that when we shook our hands with him, it was so special that we didn't wash our hands up to the following day. Secondly, I remember him as an assertive, energetic, and a decisive leader. I have never forgotten his speeches. He started slowly and he finished strong, and he gave instructions which everyone had to take. Honorable Speaker, as a leader today, I look back at the security that he provided to the country and the fact that there are police officers who are hired and they retired without going to work.
Member for Butula.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I stand to condole the family of the late President Daniel Arap Moi. On behalf of the people of Butula, myself and my family, I send my condolences to the family of the late President. Mr. Speaker, the late President was a fatherly leader who was very firm and was prepared to give advices to anybody irrespective of your status. Mr. Speaker, we have lost a great leader, but we must remember what he taught us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Bumula.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my behalf and on behalf of my family, the great people of Bumula and the entire Bungoma County, I wish also to pass my condolences to the late President Moi. Moi will be remembered with many things that he did for this country, but three things, Mr. Speaker, stands out. One, Moi opened the political space and the democracy space of this country. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, Moi was able to hand over power in 2002 without any interference of the constitution of this country. And number three, that stands out very clearly, Moi asked for forgiveness. Forgiveness, Mr. Speaker, comes from strong people. It comes from strong men and women. It does not come from the weak people. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Member for Isiolo County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the great people of Isiolo and entire Upper Eastern, that is Marsabit Moyale, I send my condolences to the family of the late President Baba Mzee Moi and entire country. Mr. Speaker, having been a beneficiary of Moi government, I will have had a lot to say. However, Mr. Speaker, I will just say three things. Number one, Mr. Speaker, the President understood the dynamics and the diversities of this country and ensured that he embraced and he ensured everybody, including the minority and the majority were included in his government. He was very kind-hearted. He was a father figure. Above all, he was very patriotic and inculcated the culture of patriotism in Kenya then.
Member for Kisumu West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I pay tribute to His Excellency Daniel Arap Moi,
I wish to state that a good friend of his in Kisumu County, retired Regional Major Onduagai, passed on just before him. Yesterday in Kisumu, as we were preparing for the burial of this retired and very well respected elder, the elders instructed Mr. Speaker to state categorically that as much as they have respect and honor for the retired president, they say that if it were not for the BBI, the tributes on the floor of this House would not be as flowery as they are. Mr. Speaker, I had the chance to serve as a member of the Council of the LSK, and people don't know in Kenya that if it were not for Mr. Joseph Kaguthi, the president would not have made, former president would not have made truce with the LSK. He was taking advice from the LSK on the sides without making it public.
Member for, is it Lomad, what is his name? El Kamais, Honorable El Kamais. Which constituency is not showing properly? Loima.
Yes.
Member for Loima.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. On my behalf and on behalf of my family and the people of Loima constituency and the greater county of Turkana County, being a son of an elder who interacted with the old man, I can remember him because of the stability that was in the country. He kept Kenya stable at a time when other African countries were falling apart. We can as well remember him because of the free milk program that was initiated in the 90s. Lastly, I'm also able to remember him because he created peace, love, and unity in the country. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Member for Sigoet Soin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of my family and the great people of Sigawet Soin, let me take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to give my condolences to the family and relatives of our late President, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Mr. Speaker, we have a lot of memories for President Moi. Moi did a lot for this country. Moi was a caring president. Moi was a loving president. Moi built schools. He built churches. What we can only say, Mr. Speaker, is may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Moiben. Member for Moiben is not present. We move to member for Thika Town.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this time. Let me get my... On behalf of myself, my family, people of Thika, and people of Kiambu, I wish to bring my message of condolences to the family of the President, DT Arap Moi. Two things about him I will never forget. He was the most generous person. Actually, he gave us a bull when I was in Nyeri High School. We ate this bull for a week. Number two, against all odds, he stepped out of a very powerful seat and retired honorably. Like any human being, he did have his shortcomings. As a country, let us learn the lessons and move on.
Member for Suna West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me to pass on my own behalf and the great people of Suna West, a message of condolences to the family of the second President of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that as much as I've never been a member of KANU, but I have to appreciate the late President for starting the first girls' secondary school in Suna West called Moi Super Girls. Mr. Speaker, Moi was a good man, But it happens that he ruled this country when things were not the way they are today. But we have to remember what he did for us as a country, and we pray that the good God rest his soul in eternal peace. On behalf also of my late father, Councillor Masara, who was his friend, let his soul rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kacheliba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also condole with the rest of the Kenyans. On behalf of the people of Kacheliba constituency, I rise to pay my last respect to the late H.E. Daniel arap Moi, who was a symbol of peace, love, and unity, that teaches us never, never, ever to forsake our troops for the sake of handshake. Rest in peace, Mzee. Asante.
Nominated member Yusuf Halima.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii niweze kuliwaza na familia ya marehemu aliyekuwa mtukufu Rais wa pili Daniel arap Moi. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi namkumbuka marehemu kwa mambo matatu. La kwanza, nilifaidika kwa maziwa ya bure. La pili, wakati nilikuwa shule ya upili, aliweza kupitia kwenye shule yetu, na tulipoenda kumwimbia aliweza kunipa kifurushi cha pesa ambazo nilipeleka shuleni, tukaweza kuchinjua ng'ombe na kunywa masoda. Hayo mambo yalinifanya nimpende sana Rais Moi, na nikamkumbuka siku nyingi kwa sababu huo wakati shule nzima iliweza kunisalimia ili wasikie mguso wa mkono.
Member for Sotik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to join hands with Kenyans to eulogize our second President of the Republic of Kenya, Daniel Moi. Moi was a great man. He came to our constituency a long time ago, and as being primary school kids, we managed to rush to the road. We sang to President Moi, and it was a very nice moment. He gave us 10,000 shillings, which was a lot of money then. It was a wonderful experience. Moi loved peace. He managed to traverse this country in the vehicle. And rest in peace, Mzee Moi. The people of Sotik, the people of Bomet County say pole to the family. Asanteni na Mungu.
Member for Masinga.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipatia nafasi hii ili niweze pia na kutoa rambirambi zangu kwa niaba ya watu wa Masinga constituency Machakos County. Nataka kusema pole zangu kwa familia ya Mzee Moi ambaye alituongoza vizuri. Ni kweli kabisa kwamba yale ambayo tunaona katika makanisa yetu ambayo ni usawa na pia hakuna furugu yoyote, ni kwa sababu Moi alisimamia ukweli na akaweza kuwapatia sisi nafasi ya kuabudu bila chochote ambacho kinatusumbua. Na pia ile msingi alituwekea kwa nchi hii ndio ile ambayo imetusimamisha mpaka wa leo. Kwa hivyo wale wengine ambayo tuko na wao pia waendelee kusindishia hiyo msingi uwe bora zaidi kuliko pale ameuachia, na Mungu ambariki familia yake.
Member for Nyandarua County.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the great people of Nyandarua and on behalf of myself, I wish to convey my heartfelt condolences to the family of the late, the former President, His Excellency Daniel arap Moi. I remember Moi with so many things, and one that stands out is that he participated in the revival of the East Africa to create market for Kenyan goods, but was also passionate, uniting all African countries for economic gain. He also worked
together with counterparts in the region and through Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. He promoted peace building and dealing with issues relating to drought and desertification in the Horn of Africa. Moi had...
Member for Uriri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I join the rest of Kenyans on my behalf and my family and the members of Uriri constituency in condoling with the late president. Indeed, one of the things we remember the president is that he had an inclusive government. Despite the fact that he had opposition from across the country, in my region particularly, I know continually throughout, in fact, members of my region were only represented well when Moi was the president. I want to send him to pass my regards to Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Robert Ouko, Nicholas Biwott, hoping that they're in the same place, Mr. Speaker. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Member for Taveta.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, nami pia naunga mkono wenzangu ndugu Raymond na ndugu Gideon na jamii yote ya mzee Moi pamoja na jamii ya Wakenya wote kwa ujumla kutoa risala zangu za rambirambi kwangu na jamii yangu na watu wote wetu wa Taveta kupeana pole kwa jamii ya mwenda zake. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni wazi kuwa mzee Moi alikuwa mcha Mungu, anafuata maadili ya Mwenyezi Mungu, alikuwa mzee wa heshima ambaye aliheshimiwa Kenya nzima na ulimwengu mzima kwa ujumla. Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba Wakenya wenzangu wampe mzee heshima yake kwa sababu heshima si utumwa na Mola amuweke pahali pema peponi.
Member for Homa Bay County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, even though always we do not agree politically with the late Mzee Moi, I'd like to give my condolences and that of Homa Bay County, and on behalf of my late father who served as a councillor and chairman of Kitimu County Council during Moi's time, and they were close, they worked closely together. Mr. Speaker, what I'd like to say is, I remember Moi as a communicator. He was a sharp communicator. He communicated simply, consistently, and precisely. For example, Moi, Mr. Speaker, the common slogan, Siasa mbaya maisha mbaya. It is a simple slogan that carries a very loaded statement. And that is how President Moi communicated. And if you did not hear his communication in his speeches, you would hear it in the songs, Mr. Speaker. Every morning you woke up, you had songs about momonyoko wa udongo. Mr. Speaker, those things we remember because Moi communicated consistently.
For Nandi Hills.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Let me take this opportunity on my behalf, my family, and the entire Nandi constituency, and the great people of Nandi, to convey my condolences and to the family of late Moi. I had the privilege to have been in Kapsabet Boys, where Moi was a member of the Alumni Association. I want to, on their behalf, to say pole. And again, on behalf of my mother, who served as a maendeleo ya wanawake of the entire Nandi, a Nandi chairperson, I want to say, to give our condolences again. Thank you so much. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Member for Kisauni.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii. Kwa niaba yangu na watu wa Kisauni, ninachukua fursa hii kutoa rambirambi zangu kwa Mheshimiwa hayati Mzee Moi. Tunasema pole kwa familia. Asante.
Member for Lungalunga.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii nami kuunga mkono kutoa salamu za rambirambi kwa niaba yangu, kwa niaba ya familia na kwa niaba ya wananchi wa Lungalunga na vile vile Kwale. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mimi kumkumbuka Mheshimiwa marehemu Rais Moi ni wakati tulipokuwa akija Mombasa ama akija Pwani. Mimi ni katika wale ambao tulikuwa tukimuimbia kwa vigelegele, na kila wakati ambapo tulipokuwa tukimuimbia alikuwa lazima aache mambo mazuri nyuma. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni jambo ambalo kusema kweli tumeachwa na pengo, lakini Mwenyezi Mungu amrehemu na kufadhili familia iliyobakia nyuma. Asante sana.
Member for Tarbo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the people of the great people of Tarbo and the larger Uasin Gishu, I take this opportunity to pass my sincere and heartfelt condolences to the family of our the late retired President of the Republic of Kenya. We shall remember him as a God-fearing, peace-loving educationist who saw many girls' schools established. He was a conservationist, a patient person, resilient, tolerant, forgiving. These are virtues we as leaders should emulate. We will also remember him as people of Uasin Gishu for the great mega projects, that is the International Airport, MTRH, Moi University, where all Kenyans benefit at the moment. May his soul rest in peace.
Member for Mathare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My commiserations to the family of the late President Moi. The late President Moi will be remembered for having provided the space for the discourse that led to the IPPG discussions that opened up the democratic space for this country. He has died at a time when the country was on very intense discussions over the future of this country in terms of its governance, elections, inclusivity, and other things. So intense was the discussion that it had been said that nobody could stop reggae. Now I think with the benefit of hindsight, Bob Marley should have said with a rider, President Moi has, at least temporarily, stopped reggae. May his soul rest in peace. My recommendations or my commiserations on behalf of the people of Mathare. Thank you.
Member for Tiati.
Mr. Speaker, sir, President Moi was a class act. Whatever material, howsoever Moi was created, Mr. Speaker, they do not make them any better anymore. President Moi was like a giant tree that gave shade to very many people. The tree has fallen. The giant tree has fallen. But I am comforted, Mr. Speaker, and encouraged that as the tree was aging, as the giant tree was aging, a seedling from the same tree had been planted. It has now blossomed into a fully grown tree, and that is none other than his son, Senator Gideon Moi.
Member for Nyamira County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity so that I can also condole with my fellow members of parliament. On my own behalf and on behalf of the people of Nyamira County, I want to bring my sincere condolences to the family of our second president, the president who has fallen and who has done a lot for the people of Kenya. We want to put the children of Mse into the Lord's hands because we know these are the saddest moments, particularly to the grandchildren who could have really wanted to stay with their grandfather, but because his time was up and God said, let him rest.
Member for Budalangi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my own behalf and on behalf of my family and on behalf of the people of Budalangi, I take this opportunity to send my heartfelt condolences to the family of the late second president of the Republic of Kenya, Mzee Daniel Moi. Mr. Speaker, Moi had his good times, he did good things, and he also did bad things. But overall, he was our president, he united this country, he ruled this country, and he took care of all cadres of people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Subukia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. On my own behalf, on behalf of my family and that of people of Subukia, I wish to convey my sincere condolences to the family of the great man, Mzee Moi. And I remember Moi for allowing the repeal of Section 2A that brought about the multipartyism that gave birth to the democracy that we are enjoying today. And secondly, Moi was a great mentor. He mentored very many leaders in this country, including our President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and his deputy. And Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is president today because of Mzee Moi. May his soul rest in peace.
Member for Mosop.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kunipa nafasi hii ili nitoe rambirambi zangu mimi binafsi na familia yetu na baba yangu ambaye ni mwandani sana wa rais aliyetuacha, Baba Sakayo Jeruyot, ambaye kwa mwaka wa 1950 wao ndio walienda kumtoa darasani akachaguliwa kama kiongozi ambaye alikuja Lejiko. Rais wetu ambaye ametuacha alianza historia yake kubwa katika jamii ya Nandi, masomo yake na vile vile kazi ya siasa. Mimi pia kama mtoto wa mzee nilipata nafasi ya kufanya kazi na yeye miaka 32 iliyopita. Nikajuana na yeye nikiwa Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology, mahali ambapo tulikaribiana sana na baadaye tukafanya kazi ambao mimi mwenyewe namshukuru kwa sababu yeye ametujenga kama watoto wake na vile vile kuweka msingi nchi hii. Na
Member from Mboni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. On my own behalf and on behalf of my family and the people of Mboni, I convey my sincere, heartfelt condolences to the family of the late second president of the Republic of Kenya, Mzee Daniel Arap Moi, for the loss of a humble, generous, humorous, God-fearing, and a focused leader. We miss the Masiwa ya Nyayo and the roadside songs we used to sing. We have lost a great leader. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Member for Kajiado North.
On behalf of the people of Kajiado North and also myself, I want to take this opportunity to convey a message of condolences to the family of the late president and also entire country. The late president showed leadership in education, handing over power, and also uniting the country. He had energy to serve the country for 47 years until the time he retired. I want us Kenyans and also the leaders to take that opportunity and learn from him to make sure that we make good structures that will govern this country to the next level. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Member for Mukurweini. When you're given, don't touch. When you have been given.
I'm not even touching.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I take this opportunity to send my condolences to the family of Mzee Moi. And Mzee Moi did so much for this country, both good and bad. Mzee Moi did so much for so few, but he did so little for so many. We won't forget, but we forgive. May he rest in peace.
For Mumias West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my own behalf and on behalf of the great people of Mumias West, and on behalf of my son who was a head boy in Kabarak, wish to convey our great condolences to Mzee Daniel Arap Moi. Mzee Arap Moi was known for building quality education, and he had a very strong administration. We call him a giraffe because he led this country very peacefully. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kericho County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I also want to convey my condolences from the great people of Kericho County, myself, my family, to the Moi family and the country at large. We miss Daniel Arap Moi for his developments that he did in this country, more so for what he did when he came to our neighborhoods. We were excited as pupils, and would always look forward to seeing him. He would come out of his car, smile, wave with his rungu, and give us goodies that made us happy the whole week. Rest in peace, Arap Moi.
Member for Siaya County.
Thank you, Speaker, for this opportunity. I want to take this opportunity to convey my heartfelt condolence to the family, and I want to remember Daniel Moi for having come to my school, where I used to be a principal of a school called Signolo Girls. Signolo Girls was once attacked by thugs at night, and the thugs abused the girls and stole so much money and destroyed the school. 2 weeks later, he visited the school with a member of parliament, Dr. Robert Ouko, and he found that we did not have electricity. He ordered that electricity be installed in the school. He gave us 150,000 to fence the school, and he also gave us 40,000 to celebrate Christmas. I just want to celebrate his life. May God rest his soul in peace. Thank you.
Member for Kirinyaga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my own behalf and the behalf of the people of Kirinyaga County, I wish to send my very sincere condolences to the Moi family and also to the Kenyans at large. I want to say that Moi was the only president that I ever knew, having been born within that era. And Moi was that president that would come by your school. He listened in his Meet the People tour. He listened actually to the voters and not to other people. I loved Moi for the YK92. He mentored a lot of youths through it. And also, he stood out as a president. When he would come to a school, our school, we had a special Nyayo choir. We even had Nyayo parties every holiday, every closing day, because he would send money to our school. Once he even had a girl who had skin disease treated when he was passing by, since my school was near.
Member for Gatanga.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On my own behalf, my family and the great people of Gatanga, I'd like to send my condolences to the family of the late president. We knew President Moi in many ways. When we were in school at the University of Nairobi, he used to invite us to his home. I've never seen any other head of state inviting young people to their homes, and we will celebrate and share ideas. I also knew President Moi for timekeeping. It's not like what happens today. You're invited for a meeting, which is supposed to start at 8, and the person who has called for that meeting comes at 1. If President Moi said the meeting will start at 10:59, you are sure that he would be there. I'll never forget this. May his soul rest in peace.
Member for Homa Bay Town.
Mr. Speaker, I condole the family of our brother Raymond, Gideon, the entire family of Moi. We thank President Daniel Toroit Arap Moi for his contributions to the education sector in this country. Mr. Speaker, President Moi taught us the virtue of tolerance, perseverance, and humility, which saw him become president and governed this country for over 24 years. Mr. Speaker, President Moi governed this country in the most inclusive manner. It was during the time of President Moi that in Luo Nyanza we had the highest number of ministers serving in the biggest portfolio in government. Mr. Speaker, if anybody doubted the mentorship capacity of the President, then let me confirm for record that this house is a house of President Moi. Whether you follow Raila Odinga, whether you follow Kalonzo Musyoka, Uhuru Kenyatta, Mudavadi, you are in the party of somebody President Moi mentored.
Member for Kinangop.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to take this opportunity on my own behalf and on behalf of the people of Kinangop and Nyandarua County to convey our heartfelt condolences to the family of the late President Moi. And on the onset, I would wish to say that President Moi's life is a testimony of what we can become if we believe in ourselves, because he's coming from a very humble background. He's fought his fights and won. And really, having come from a poor background is a testimony that anybody can rise, being from a hustler, from a son of a peasant, to become the president and a great man in this country. So therefore, whether you like him or hate him, President Moi is the greatest that we'll have as the longest-serving president. May his soul rest in peace.
Member for Kibwezi East.
Mr. Speaker, I join my colleagues in presenting my message of condolences to the family of the Moi family, having a member in the 12th Parliament, the member for Rongai, and the senator for Baringo. Mr. Speaker, we know Moi as a peacemaker. He loved peace, love, and unity. Issue of inclusivity, Mr. Speaker, he loved education. I'm a beneficiary of the Maziwa Nyayo, Mr. Speaker, and the people of Kibwezi remember Moi for using the Nairobi-Mombasa road when he was going to Mombasa, and that's when we used to benefit much from him. Mr. Speaker, I pass my message of condolences and to the family and Kenyans in general. Thank you.
Member for Mandera North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I join other leaders and Kenyans in mourning the passing of the second President of the Republic of Kenya, I want us to remember the many things that he has done for this country. One of the main things was about education, where he guaranteed access of education for everybody, especially marginalized communities. Unfortunately, and sadly so, on the day that he passed on, the Teachers Service Commission withdrew all the teachers from northeastern Kenya. So it's sad that TSC really was teacher number one in that kind of manner. So sad. The other thing is that he is actually a great commander-in-chief. I interacted with him. He commissioned me into the military as an officer many years ago, and I can tell you for sure that Kenya has had actually a very smart commander-in-chief and actually Kenyans, and greatly, even in the region, we will miss him so much. But let us leave his legacy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity for me also to pass my condolences on behalf of the great people of Bomet Central and teachers of this country. You know, Moi was also a teacher like me, a professional teacher, me being also a life member of CUPET. I'm a beneficiary of Rumo High School, Kaparak, and we also appreciated whatever he used to do to us students. Nearly every weekend, we used to enjoy some bread called Makatiat. I went back to Kaparak High School also to teach mathematics, and I loved teaching in that place. Moi also was a very development conscious person. Even the stadiums which we have, the only international stadiums which we have, Kasarani and the Nyayo, were constructed by Moi.
Serone Kipkoril.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity so that I also pass a word of condolences to the family of President Moi. Mr. Speaker, personally, I have come to know Moi for over 28 years. And on behalf of Waipa family, Nakuru Town West, on behalf of the area MB who is not in the house, and that of my family, I would want to say to the family of Moi, may peace, love, and unity live within yourself. Mr. Speaker, as I finalize, I want to urge His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and all of us, members of parliament, champion for the PPI issue. Let us embrace peace, love, and unity. Mr. Speaker, I came to know the meaning of peace during 2007 and 2008. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kajiado West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the people of Kajiado West constituency, I wish to convey my condolences to the family of the second President of the Republic of Kenya, President Daniel Moi. Mr. Speaker, sir, President Moi was a true leader. He had principle, he kept time, he kept his word. President Moi mentored many leaders to become leaders. President Moi